Good afternoon, class. So today is 8th of March, and we will have to cover the current affairs of today. The first news is related to Kalyan Jewelers. Please buy some. Okay, further moving on, the next one is green. China gives green light for first downstream dams on Brahmaputra. Now, there are two things that needed to be known about here, because whenever there is something that is happening in the neighborhood, there are two things that you should look out for. What is the objective? What is the implications on India? So if I talk about Bangladesh, they are talking about Tista water sharing. So you should understand only two things. What is the objective of Bangladesh and what is the implications on India? Same goes with Pakistan. Now, in the case of China, first of all, let's talk about objective, why China is doing it. So the problem with China is China does not have much of the larger sources with respect to their renewable energy. And recently they have announced that they are going to be carbon neutral by 2060. And when I say carbon neutral, I mean by that the amount of emission will be equivalent to the amount of absorption. I am not saying that the emissions will not be produced at all, but amount of emissions will be equal to the amount of absorption. Now there are two aspects to it. So if you are on 100, you can either reduce your number from 100 to 80. Automatically the absorption will have to decrease. So there is a mismatch between that. This is what the China is going to balance. Right now they are working on the draft of the new 5-year plan that is going to be approved by Thursday. These are no draft, basically these are the constitution that are passed by the Communist Party of China. Whatever they have said, they are being implemented. For the very first time, they have basically tried to take out the prospects, or you can say try to get the benefits in the lower Tibet region that is located in the Arunachal Pradesh. Now in the region of Arunachal Pradesh, I hope you understand what could be the implications for India. There may be increasing seismic activities because they are conducted very close to the Himalayan region. There could be effect on the water flow that is coming from China to India. But please understand, the major catchment area of the Brahmaputra river, almost 33% of that catchment area is lying in the state of India. There are certain tributaries which are contributing directly or indirectly to the water flow of Brahmaputra. Therefore, with respect to the water flow, there will not be much implications, but with respect to the seismic activity, there may be some implications. Furthermore, there will be flooding and all other activities that may happen more as compared to the construction of the dams. And then there are all the reasons that are associated with the construction of the dams, the safety of the people, environment degradation, and all other things. But I hope this is clear, and it is going to create a new chapter of exploration. This is what the Chinese authorities have said at home. India is going to do same in the western part, in the Jammu and Kashmir region, where we are building a dam on the Jhelum region. We have also protesting a dam that is being constructed in Pak occupied Kashmir, because India have claimed that this dam that you are currently constructing is Indian territory. China is helping Pakistan to construct that particular dam so that the electricity and the water facilities of the downtown, sorry, not the downtown, but the down regions could be basically catered to and had to be provided with better facility of electricity and water. So I hope this is clear. Okay, further moving on. The next news is HC set up panel to find ways to treat patient with rare diseases. Now this is something that is the responsibility of the administration, but as there is lethargy among the administrative people, the High Court have to come in. What is the issue? There are a lot of people who are suffering from rare diseases to which there is costly treatment. Right now there is no government funds, separate government funds that are specially catering to these people who are in dire need and also need high money or monetary compensation to basically survive directly or indirectly, because there are a lot of these particular diseases. Now the High Court have set up a panel to look out for a possibility from government institutions, from crowdfunding or any other people who want to basically contribute so that these people can be taken care of and the quality of life of these people could be provided a further growth. So these are some of the things that have been debated here, and I think directly this is a part of administration, but because of the administration apathy, there is not being done, and the High Court have to come in to basically set up a panel who will give them recommendation according to the needs, things that are required, and the money that they require regarding the ways that could be implemented for the treatment of the patients who are suffering from the rare diseases. Okay, further moving on. The next news is related to misplaced concern. So this is the regulation of the OTT in which the Supreme Court have made a decision. Sorry, not made the decision, but made a noticeable recognition that there are a lot of things that are available online which contain directly or indirectly some form of pornographic content that is not suitable for the younger children, that is against the societal norms, the morality, and even the obscenity that is being shown in them is creating a negative effect on the mentality of the people. Now, in that particular part, the article have written that the Supreme Court should not allow outrage industry to shape the moves to the OTT content regulation. So basically what they intend to say that when we talk about the guidelines that are there, even if they are lacking, it is not for the Supreme Court to decide that what should be there and what should not be there. But my alternative and the counter question to these people who have written this particular article is, who gives you right to basically challenge the conscience, challenge the belief, or challenge any other aspects of a particular individual who believe in something? They need to be equally respected. If your belief is in something, their belief is equally on parity with your belief. If you believe in some things that the freedom of expression should be there, their freedom of expression should also be upheld. The article is written in such a context that there is an outrage against whole of the industry, and this outrage is created because of the phenomena in which the two companies are being compared with one another. So there is a southern movies and there is the northern movies or the Bollywood movies, and Bollywood has been made a bait in this particular scenario. This is written in the article. I will give you a counter argument to this also. This is written in the article that the Bollywood is made as a scapegoat to the outrage industries, and there are other vulgar things that are shown in Bhojpuri industry and other industry that are surfacing in the northern India. Only the Bollywood is being targeted. But please understand, the Bollywood movies have a large influence in country. Bhojpuri movies are only limited to a certain region, and they are also not easily accessible. Neither people are going after them because they are only catering to a particular region. In the case of North and South industry, the allegations that are being put up that the northern industry do not basically decarcerate the image of the Hindu gods, and the recent controversies regarding the Tandav series that have streamed on Amazon, which have made fun of the Hindu Shiva god, directly or indirectly. I do not know what was the fun, but if you want to know more, you can see that. Otherwise, there is no need. You just remember there were some offensives calling to the Hindu gods, and they have created an outrage, and the case has been filed. The Allahabad High Court have said very strictly that if you are trying to offend Hindus or any religious sect for that, so in the country of India, they have not specifically said that you are offending Hindu. They have said if you are offending a particular religious sect, then you are needed to be interrogated that whether this was intentional, whether this was unintentional, whether the story demanded it, or whether it is a filler item. Although the bail has been granted, as Tandav have decided that their particular scene from that particular expression has been removed. Now the whole issue is that they are accusing the Supreme Court of interfering directly into what they claim that the obscenity, the vulgarity, and the pornographic content needed to be controlled. In that way, they are trying to basically choke the freedom of expression and other things. Now, one question you should ask, that only the vulgarity will amount to freedom of expression? Aren't there other ways so that you can express your freedom? If you are offended about something, is holding nude march is the only way of protesting? Farmers are protesting for approximately 100 days now. That is also a way to protest. How can you can't protest in the same manner? If there is a demand of the story that is needed, and the people, I don't think that these are irrational people who are basically seeing. They certainly know if there are certain acquisitions that are not needed for the story of the content of the people who are writing, they can certainly avoid these controversies. But even for, say, let's say the controversies are needed, because we cannot make a blind eye to all the things that are currently happening around us. There are certain writers and media platforms who create controversy so that the viewership increases. I hope this is clear. Now the task of the Supreme Court has become very important here, because if you do not create controversy, of course the audience will not come to you. If you create controversy, you will land in Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will have to come in. Now, as they see these particular scenes, they very well know that this is a total vulgarity item, and although they are guided by the self-regulation, you cannot stop anybody if the people are writing. That is the current phenomenon. But wherever the society is currently going, or whatever the youth are currently feeding into their mind, I think that is a role of society to actually make them as a whole. If you fill their mind with filth and dirty words that are spoken, or the filth that is currently spoken online, I think the public discourse will degrade very fast. There will be no respect of people, no respect of women, and no respect of the child, and the other crimes being committed on the same verge. So you have to control, provide a regulation, because after some age, you are basically sufficient enough to think on your own what is better for you, what is bad for you. But if you give that particular influence to all the people around the country, they are bound to have indirect influences of them on the children behavior, and may create problem in the whole psychological development of that particular person. So personally, I do not find it unnecessary, as the Supreme Court is saying so. But I think Supreme Court should not be so harsh on the directors. There may be warnings, there may be regulations, but you should not put direct security threat, that you should not threaten. Supreme Court is there to protect and not to threaten the citizen of India. And in this case, although I do not support whatever happened in the offensive that is committed against against the religious community, that needed to be removed, I support that one part. But Supreme Court should not directly involve in threatening people that you should do it. There could be regulation, there could be suggestion, but you should not threaten it. So I hope you are understanding the picture from the both side. Threatening should go, but there should be amicable solutions that could be put in, and there should be regulations that should be there. The one claim that they have claimed, that the southern industry does not disrespect any of the courts. That was the claim that was given against the Bollywood. And I think up to some level, most of the people do believe so. But it is what the society wanted to see, or some writers wanted to have. So it is a very, I think, complex situation. You already understand it. I need not to go into that particular detail. Try to have discussion regarding that particular issue with some of your friends. Because in that particular aspects of the media platform control, regulation, and having decency, there are a lot of things at stake now. Because individual persons can claim anything, but here whether we are talking about the individual ideas are getting reflected to the public. So that is the whole issue here. Okay, so individual may say that it is my freedom of expression, but the public is getting affected because of it. The next one is the now and expanded horizon of surveillance. So this is written by Meera Swaminathan. And what she have written, first of all, you need to know the news. These are IT rules 2021 who have provided the promotion of lateral surveillance. What is a lateral surveillance? The UP government have initially decided a particular app which provided certain people in certain region to report about the social offenders who are directly and indirectly disturbing the peace at a particular region. Now, the people were made volunteers. They were reporting about social offenders, that whether they are doing it regularly, and they were put in jail. Now, the Ministry of Home Affairs have issued a IT rule amendment in which they have said that there will be certain people, or certain people will be equipped with basic reporting on any type of crime, whether it leads to pornography, whether it leads to certain illegal material, contacts with other person, or even child pornography. So if they are engaging in that, they should be reported by individuals directly or indirectly, or even if they try to commit hate speech against one another, they should be reported by individual to the Ministry of Home Affairs. And after that, the Ministry of Home Affairs will take a action on that. Now here the issue lies with the curb on the freedom of expression. Again the freedom of expression will come. That who will decide that whose freedom of expression is more superior as to other? Now when we talk about surveillance, the dictionary definition of this particular surveillance is that when a person watching and there is a person that is being watched. So basically the person watching is on the commanding post. So for long this has happened. There have been Guptachar and all other people in the society that gives basic information to Raja and Maharaja. But that is an adverse relation in which the power balance is favored in the court of the Raja. Now with this particular part, that is a lateral surveillance. Now lateral surveillance has its place in society, as we see in all the neighborhood aunties and uncles keeping vigil on the common people so they do not bring home the boys and all other people. They also keep on check on the habits. So as you can see in the Indian society, if you have to smoke a cigarette, you will have to go certain places away from your homes. These are certain things that the societal surveillance have its benefit. So I hope this is clear. She have not totally outraged on this particular part. The surveillance is not bad, and for that case the surveillance of the children at the young age is also required so that they do not fall or become victim of any other person who may take advantage directly or indirectly of them. So surveillance is required up to certain level so that it does not become a threat to their privacy or direct interference in that particular in their personal life. What she is concerned about, she is saying the state is giving you authority now that you can report on some person if you do not like them or if you have found them committing certain offenses that are going to happen or not going to happen. Now, the question is who will decide that what is offensive? The definition of the offensive could be different to one person, different to another person. Certain person may be offensive of you having contact with other boy and or other girl, and certain person will not be offended by the things that you may do in public. Okay, so these are some of the things that are currently happening. Now, in that particular case, she have quoted the example of the lockdown. She have said that when there is a community surveillance and it is blown out of proportion, because if the people are paranoid that they may get directly or indirectly infected, there are certain communities who are affected adversely, certain communities who are affected positively. In the case of COVID, she have taken the example of the health workers and the doctors. In the case of health workers and doctors, they are being criticized because they were coming from the hospital. They are being ridiculed. They are being socially boycotted. And they were misbehaved by the society because the social surveillance was in place. Now, this may happen directly with the communities. You take the Muslim community, if there are certain people of Muslim communities who are there and they are disliked by the Hindu community, they can together come and they can put false cases or false allegations against them. So that will create a disharmony in the society. Now, in the case of South Korea, there was also LGBT community. In the case of LGBT community, the initial response of LGBT community was, the initial cases of coronavirus were maximum in the LGBT community. Now, this have led to a type of a social surveillance online because everybody know on internet that who is here and what is whom of whom. Now, they had repercussion for the extensive set of people to all the LGBT community in which they were hate, there was fear among the LGBT community, they were being recruited, they have been passed filthy comments, they have been dealt with suspicion that they may be directly COVID positive. So that may take a direct effect on their health and well-being. So these are some of the things that she says. And in that particular part, it may create more satisfaction in the society. And new fallouts may occur. There is a possibility of xenophobia, casteism, exclusion, and there are risks that are generally associated with this particular implementation of the law. So I hope this is clear. Okay, further moving on, very, very important topic of Indian economy, the railways and the question of transparency. Now, please understand, there are two things in India, railways and power sector. These are highly complicated sectors. Railways may be a bit easier to understand, but power is very difficult to understand. Today we are going to talk about railways. What are the issues in the railways? First of all, the railways that are in India, they have different kind of categories, the people who are working in them. There are different kind of railway purposes, and then there are different kind of suggestions. We are going to explore all these suggestions, and please have yourself note make of this particular topic because it is very, very important. So first of all, let's talk about the railway. Basically are divided into two parts. One is the freight railway, one is the passenger railway. Right now, the government of India have claimed that the freight railway have increased in its profits, but they have not given the data of the passenger railway because the excuse that they have given that the passenger railways were basically out of service as there was no crowds, there was complete lockdown in the economy. Now, the freight is definitely going to increase according to K. Bala Kesari, and Mr. Bala Kesari is of the opinion that definitely it is going to increase. If there are no passenger railway, the load on the tracks has reduced. The railways can move from one place to another because all goods and commodities can only find an alternative because all the trucks and vehicles were closed. So that's why the railway was the only means of transportation from one place to another, except for those reasons where the trucks and the other lorries could not move. Apart from that, he says that when we talk about the operational efficiency, the government has not been transparent in telling all the things to the people. Now, what is the problem in the efficiency? For every 1 rupees the government spend, 98 paisa is the for every 98 rupees government spend, 1 rupees is the total money they generate. So the margin is very small. This was the margin in fiscal year 20. Now here, when we talk about operating ratio is the expenses divided by revenue. So what are the working expenses of the railways divided by revenue? It should be, we can say, the larger the gap, the larger the profit. So if the working expenses are 50 and the revenues are 100, then you can easily term that is the profit of 50%. So larger the gap, that will be profitable. But in the case of railways, we see that the working profit is very low, that is 98 and 100. So that have created a problem. But he says that this is not a transparent picture of it. Why it is not a transparent picture? He says that in the railways there are 3 departments that are very important. The first one is the freight department, the second one is the passenger department, and third one is the railway pensions and the employees. Railways are one of the biggest employers of the world, and in that particular context, if you take away the expenses of the railway, the pensions of them, the actual expenses are 114. So for every 100 rupees the railway is generating, 114 rupees is the expense, which is not viable because you are spending more as compared to what you are generating. One option that most of the people say that the railway fare should be increased. Now the government has not been in favor of increasing that particular railways, the fare of the railways. Now when we talk about the increase in the fares and increase in the income of the people that are needed to be paid, that is also not increasing at a equivalent pace. We see the fares are increased by 84% and from a particular experience of time from 2019 and something like that. And we see that in the case of pension and wages, they have increased manifold. So there is twice, that is by 157%. So there is twice increase in the expenses of the railways, but there is less increase in the fare of the railways. Now, the operation we can do, there is no second thought about that the freights are, or the material that is being taken from one place to another is definitely going to provide good things to the railways, because freight is the profitable making business, passenger train is not the profitable making business. So we take the revenue of the freight train and we try to subsidize some of the passenger trains. This is what we understand this particular part. Now he says that in the case of freight trains, if we talk about, the government is now planning a dedicated freight corridor. One is located on the eastern front, one is located on the western front. These dedicated freight corridors will only take freight trains from one place to another and will allow the fast movement of the goods and more trains to run at a better speed. Apart from that, there is another problem that the one major commodity the freight trains are basically exporting from one place to another is coal. Now, see the implications, how well he have defined this particular issue. He says that if the coal is being removed, let's say India is committed to the Paris climate change negotiations that we will take out all the things that are fossil so that the carbon dioxide is not generated in the environment. Therefore, we will take them out. As we are in the process of taking them out, the effect on the 50% of the revenue. So if railway is earning 100 rupees, almost 50 rupees is coming from the transportation of coal. As coal will be gone away, automatically it will be difficult for all the railways to survive. So there are alternative ways that are being looked for. Some people say that the railways assets should be sold. Some railways needed to be sold. That is also not feasible because in the context of the railways, the expenses are very high because of the people. So if you want to do away with the people, then the employment opportunities will decrease because there are approximately 1 lakh people who are generally at a time employed in railways. These are very huge number for a particular government organization. Apart from that, there is corporatization that they are talking about. There is merger of the railway cadres because there are different cadres that are existing over there. There is also a corporate player that are currently talking about. Now, whatever be the issue, the one suggestion Mr. Bala Kesari have given, He says that right now the railway is reeling under major pressures, also because of the internal problems and also because of the international problems. So there is a need of comprehensive policy on railway so that the particular benefits that are coming to it from the coal sector, they can be diverted. And the one suggestion, I basically liked the suggestion very much. He says that let us spread out railway lines in whole of the country, but make trucks or railways in such a manner that the trucks can directly roll on and roll off from these particular railways. So basically what he intend to say, कि trucks generally works on the roadside. Indian trucks, you can allow them to basically be on the railways, and the railway will take them from one place to another. It will amount to two things. First of all, it will increase the load on the railways, the freight train. Secondly, it will basically prevent the pollution from the trucks because trucks generate 70% of the pollution in India. And apart from that, as the Indian government is still in the process of making all the railway platform electric, definitely over the time by 2030, as the whole railway platform will be electric, they will have to look out for other sources of revenues that can basically make them operationally efficient without corporatizing everything. So these are some of the things that they have talked about. So I hope this is clear. And sorry, apart from that, there is another thing they have said, that in the verge of economic survey, on the same lines, there should be a railway survey every year that should be presented by the government of India, so that a physical policy is in place for all the physical and the financial performance of the railway, so that the accountability could be taken care of. The next one is the health first and fiscal prudence later. So this is with respect to the LPG. Very simple issue. Ujjwala scheme is basically providing the facility of the poor people to own a cylinder, basically preventing them from all the asthma and diseases that were currently there. Now, in that particular part, the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana have done commendably well, and there is only the second phase of this particular program that is being started, Ujjwala 2.0, in which the connection subsidy will be provided, and the expansion of the gas cylinders have also increased to 85% of the households. In the case of Ujjwala 1, there are two major reasons that are there. And the one thing that the article have written very articulately, but I think there is some lack of broad vision that is required. I will also give you what I think about of this particular issue. They say that the LPG connection needed to be provided to a large number of people. That is definitely true. But the capacity of the people to buy the another dose, because the government is not going to provide them subsidy, that is also problematic. Equally problematic is the availability of the cheaper biomass that is available in the rural areas. So what we are doing in LPG subsidy is we are giving everybody a fixed amount of subsidy. The poor may be needing more subsidy so that they could remain on LPG cylinder for a more number of months as compared to the rich people. The rich people can get away with a less subsidy, but the poor people had to be provided a large amount of subsidy. Basically, what they intend to say by this particular part is we have a progressive taxation system. The people who are up to 2.5 lakh, they are not taxed. From 2.5 to 5, a slight percentage of tax, and beyond that there are different surcharges. So the basic premise of this is larger the income, larger should be the taxes on these particular people. You can also apply it reversely, although this is not written in the article, but I'm just giving you insight of my mind that progressive subsidy can also be introduced. You can have a system in which if you possess 15 kind of disabilities, let's say, you will be provided 60% of the subsidy on LPG. If you possess 10 kind of disabilities under certain parts, so for example, if you do not have a household connection, you are under BPL, you are under PDS, you are under Ayushman Bharat Yojana, if these are disabilities or regulations that are being promoted, or you are not enrolled into any other, your family does not have any other person working, your family do not have a male member, so on that particular basis, it can be decided that which will be provided more subsidy and which will be provided less subsidy. And in one word, you can define it as a progressive subsidy. So the poorer will get the more subsidy and the lesser will get the affluent will get the lesser subsidy. Now, apart from that, there is also issues with respect to the expanded coverage. Now, the government can claim itself that it have distributed gas cylinders to all, but the rich people may be more affluent over the time to basically consume everything on gas, but the poor people will certainly after some time will go on the usual means because they are still very cheaper. I think biomass does not cost anything in the rural areas till date, but LPG costs approximately 900 rupees, and that is a huge amount of sum to be shredded out from your pocket. So that is one of the thing. Now, further moving on, the next article is related to Jaishankar, Jamle, Khalilzad discuss Afghan peace talks. Now, this is a very interesting event that have happened. Till date, we have kept mum on the Afghan peace process, and directly we are talking about the Afghan peace process with the special envoy appointed by the US government. And we will have to wait for 1 or 2 days that what is the outcome, what are the concerns of India. Although there are some ungoverned spaces that India have always raised, India have already battled for Afghan control, Afghan controlled, Afghan negotiated process in the peace time for bringing a long-term peace, and India have also warranted the major players around the world that any form of urgency or any form of insensitive or inhuman care could destroy the whole peace that is currently achieved in the state of Afghanistan. We need to have a thoughtful and careful discussion about bringing or taking away any of the activities or armed forces from Afghanistan directly or indirectly supported by other countries. So I hope this is clear. Next one is Jan Aushadhi is helping the poor. So 75th 100 Jan Aushadhi Kendra has been established, and it have provided the middle class a saving of the people of India saving of approximately 3600 crore. Do not go into detail. The next one is the support for Myanmar resistance rises. So Mizoram, Manipur and Nagaland have expressed solidarity with the protesters. I hope you remember there were certain people from Myanmar who have moved to Mizoram, and the people in Mizoram have found good places and good relations with them. They have said them that it is their responsibility to cater care because they have parental and the cultural ties with them because situated in the neighborhood region. So resistance have found support from multiple countries, but the Myanmar army is not going to relent. So we will have to see what will happen after that. Next one is the all-women crew of SCI vessel make history. So this is Shipping Corporation of India, in which all the women crew was posted on the International Women Day, and that is celebrated on 8th of March. So this is Shipping Corporation of India and has been ferried at JNPT. So that is one of the thing here. पढ़ लीजिएगा इसको, इतना important नहीं. Okay, further moving on, the next article is India-China need enabling conditions to settle dispute. Again, the same thing. We need disengagement at the border. Be concerned about each other's situation. Respect the things. China is saying the same thing, that India should separate the border issue with the relations with respect to trade and communication among two countries. India says that if the border dispute is not resolved, there is no further issues that could be discussed because it is central to the long-term peace or trade relations between the India and the state of China. Now, the issue here is that the peaceful negotiations should come forward. India and China are two developing nations. They can reach a settlement on the boundary. There is a de-escalation, that is the underlying truth. We have to agree on both sides. And there are the management of the disputes, engagement and the coordination between the two countries for which we can engage directly and will provide a way for resolving our disputes by talks. Okay. And I hope this is clear. So I think that is it for today.